You're listening to Signal Lost, original alien fiction. New story every week. I'm glad you found the frequency.
I want to tell you something before I start. I am not someone who believes in things she cannot explain. I am not spiritual. I do not read horoscopes or knock on wood or leave a light on when I sleep. I am a woman who drove trucks for 11 years across some of the emptiest roads in America. And in that time, I saw exactly what I expected to see. Asphalt, dark, stars, and the occasional idiot doing 90 in a 50 zone. I am telling you this because I need you to understand that what I am about to describe is not a story I wanted to tell. It is not something I have embellished for attention. It is simply what happened on Route 9 on the night of October 14th. And it is the reason I do not drive anymore. My name is Maya Reyes. I was 34 years old, and I am still not sure what I saw was meant for me to see. Route 9 through central Nevada is not a road most people know exists. It does not appear on the navigation apps. There are no truck stops, no diners, no emergency call boxes for the first 90 miles after you leave the junction at Calbrook. It is one lane in each direction, dead flat, dead straight, cutting through scrubland so dry it feels like the earth has given up on that particular stretch. I had driven it every Tuesday and Thursday night for 3 years as part of my run between the Calbrook Distribution Center and the depot at Faro. I liked it, actually. Most drivers hated Route 9. They said it felt wrong, said the silence on the CB radio out there was unnatural, said the dark was a different quality of dark to other roads. I thought that was nonsense. I liked the quiet. I liked that nobody else used it. I liked driving alone at night in a place where the sky was so clear you could see the Milky Way smeared across it like something spilled. I left Calbrook at 11:47 p.m. I remember the time exactly because I was slightly late, a delay at the loading dock, and I noted it in my log. The load was engine parts, 42,000 pounds. Nothing unusual. I had my coffee in the cup holder, a talk radio station fading in and out, and approximately 4 hours ahead of me before Faro. For the first hour, everything was normal. It was somewhere around mile marker 63 that the radio changed. I say changed, not stopped. It did not cut to static. The talk show, two men arguing about something political, I had not been really listening, simply faded. And in its place, between the stations, in that usual dead space of white noise, I heard something else. A tone. Single. Clear. Low. Almost like a tuning fork struck against something hollow. Then a voice. Calm, unhurried, reading what sounded like coordinates or measurements. Numbers I did not recognize. Not a broadcast I had ever come across on that stretch. I scanned the dial. The voice followed me across frequencies. I turned the radio off. The tone kept going. I realize now that I should have turned around at that point. Most people, I think, would have. But the sound was not frightening exactly. It was more like a sound that did not belong. The way a single piano note in an empty house is not frightening until you remember you live alone. I told myself it was an atmospheric anomaly, a military frequency bleeding through. Nevada has no shortage of restricted airspace. I kept driving. The light appeared at approximately 1:15 a.m., not on the road, above it, To my left, maybe 2 miles out across the scrubland, a light source was moving parallel to me at exactly my speed, 60 miles an hour. No faster, no slower. It was white. Not the orange-white of aircraft lighting, not the blue-white of emergency vehicles. A clean, flat, sourceless white. It cast no beam. It illuminated nothing around it. It was simply present. I picked up the CB, called out on Channel 19, asked if any other drivers were on Route 9. Nothing. I tried Channel 9. Nothing. Channels 14, 20, 4. The CB was live. I could hear the carrier signal, but no one responded. In 3 years on that road, I had never once raised another driver on the CB. But I had never tried before. I had never needed to. The light kept pace with me for 6 miles. I know because I watched the mile markers pass. Then it stopped. Not gradually, not a deceleration. It stopped the way a cursor stops blinking when the power goes out. One moment it was there, moving. The next it was simply gone. And the desert to my left was nothing but flat darkness. I let out a breath I did not know I had been holding. I kept driving. At mile marker 71, my headlights lit up something they should not have. The road ended. Not in a barrier, not in a construction warning, not in a gradual fade to gravel. The asphalt simply stopped. Clean, as if cut with a blade. And beyond the edge of it was nothing. Not desert, not dirt, not darkness. Nothing. A quality of absence I cannot describe with the right words, because I do not think the right words exist. It was as if someone had simply removed what came next. I stopped the truck. I sat with the engine running and the headlights pointing at this edge for what felt like a long time. It may have been seconds. I do not know. Time was doing something unusual. Then I made the mistake of stepping out. The air was wrong. It was October in Nevada. It should have been cold, mid-40s at least. The air on my skin was neither warm nor cold. It was simply the absence of temperature, the kind of neutral that makes you suddenly aware that temperature is something you have always taken for granted. I walked to the edge of the road. I crouched down and looked at the cut. It was perfectly straight. And when I held my hand over the edge and lowered it slowly, it disappeared. Not into shadow, genuinely disappeared. The way your hand disappears into water, except there was no water. There was nothing. My hand simply stopped being visible, and I felt nothing where my fingers should have been. I pulled my hand back. It was there, intact. But the knuckle of my right index finger had a mark on it that I do not remember being there before. Small, geometric, 3 lines converging to a point. I still have it. I stood up, and that was when I looked up. I will not try to describe it in full, because any description I give you will make it sound smaller than it was. It filled the sky, not part of the sky, the sky. From horizon to horizon above me, blocking the stars so completely that I only understood what I was looking at by the stars it had not yet covered at the edges. A curved border, smooth and geometrically perfect, moving with a slowness that made it feel geological, like a continent shifting. No lights, no sound, no heat. no wind disturbed by its passage. It was simply there. And it was the largest thing I have ever stood beneath. I do not know how long I stood looking at it. I was not frightened, which in retrospect frightens me more than anything else about that night. I was calm, completely, unnaturally calm, as if the part of my brain responsible for fear had been briefly switched off like a circuit breaker. Then the edge of the shape passed over me, and I was back in my truck. Engine running, headlights on, and the road ahead was complete, uninterrupted. Route 9 stretching forward exactly as it always had, all the way to Faro. My log showed I had been stationary for 1 minute and 40 seconds. I drove to Faro. I delivered the load. I signed the paperwork. I drove home. I did not speak to anyone about what had happened for 11 days. When I finally told my sister, she asked me if I was sure I had not fallen asleep at the wheel. I told her I was sure. She looked at my hand. She did not say anything else. I called the Route 9 Maintenance Authority the following week, asking if there had been any roadworks or road closures at mile marker 71 on the night of October 14th. The woman who answered the phone was quiet for a moment after I gave her the location. Then she said, "We don't have a mile marker 71 on Route 9, ma'am." I checked my log. I had written it down that night in my own handwriting at the time. Mile marker 71. I drove Route 9 the following Tuesday in daylight. The mile markers ran 69, 70, then 72. No gap. No sign of a missing post. Just a stretch of road, a little flatter than the rest, where the scrubland on the left side was darker somehow. Where no birds sat on the wire. Where the silence had a slightly different quality. I handed in my notice the next day. I do not know what I saw on Route 9. I do not know what the shape was, where it came from, or what it wanted, if it wanted anything at all. I do not know why the road ended, or what existed on the other side of that edge, or whether the mark on my hand means something I have not yet been able to understand. What I know is this. 3 weeks after my experience, I received a letter. No return address. Inside, a single piece of paper with nothing on it but a number. 1033.7. I do not know what it means. But sometimes, at 3 in the morning, I turn on the old radio in my kitchen and I scan the dial to that frequency. And there is something there. Not music, not a voice. A tone. Single. Clear. Low. Almost like a tuning fork struck against something hollow. If you are listening, and I think some of you are, then you already know the frequency. And if you have heard it too, then I am sorry, because it means it has already found you. My name is Maya Reyes, and this was my signal.
Signal lost. New story every week. Have you heard the frequency?